Hi there. It's so good to have you again. I hope you've had a wonderful week, a wonderful day, a wonderful month. We're already in October, and it's the 6th day of October that I'm recording this, and I'm happy to say it because hopefully this video will come out very soon. How are you doing? How's your family? How's everything going? How's business? I wish you could answer me so I can ask more questions, but it's okay. I know that you're doing well, and I know that you're getting ready for the end of 2023 and the beginning of 2024. Now, to start that process, I thought to share a few things. Um, this year has been so good for me because, yes, I had goals, but I also worked on so many other things or other aspects of my life that I'm enjoying. Before I go further, my name is Adiola Kingsley James, and I'm really excited to be here. And if any of my videos have helped you, please subscribe and keep on sharing me with other people and keep watching my videos. Click on the notification bell as well so that you can get more videos as they drop. And I'm going to be sharing videos that really can help you, at least things that help me, and if it can help me, I dare say that it can help you too. So today I want to start a series of how, some of the things that we do that stop us from being great. Somebody was asking me a couple of days ago, how come you are like this? You weren't like this before because they've always known me. And they were like, what changed? What happened? And I first shared with them some of the things that I was doing that wasn't serving me. And I'm going to share some of them with you today. In the next series, it will be things that I started to do that started serving me. And then in the next series, it will be the people that I needed in my life to help me, to get me to the level that I'm at. And I'm going to share all of that with you going forward. So the first things, I'm going to probably just say 5 things so that, you can start to check yourself and ask yourself if you have any of these tendencies or you have any of these traits or you see yourself doing any of these things. I'm telling you my story because they were disempowering to me. And I almost can say that they will be disempowering to you as well. One of the things was that stopped me at some point or hindered my growth was my culture. I wrote cultivate, my upbringing, my nature and nurture. Now, I'd come from a family of parents who seemed to be doing quite well in the public eye, and they were both television people, so they were also quite, famous, especially my mother. But within her, she had a lot of fears and insecurities that she didn't deal with, and some of those insecurities and fears also rubbed off on us, or well, on me as a child. So that's one of the things that really affected us and affects us as human beings and can stop us or limit us, because if you, for example, had a mother who allowed so many things to happen to her, for example, you have a mother who had a husband who was beating her or cheating on her and she stayed. What you can make that mean is it's okay for people to hurt me and it's okay for me to be there, because we give different things all kinds of meanings. And so because of the way I saw my mom, on the outside, everybody adored her. But on the inside, I felt like there was a dent to her confidence. So, and it's not just her, a lot of people on television, because they're actors, and everybody on television is some kind of actor. Because they're actors, they can wear a character that is not them. But when they're by themselves, they're real characters and they don't really like themselves. And you can name them artists, musicians, all of them all had at some point in their lives were dealing with a low self-esteem or confidence and all of that. So that's one of the things that can actually limit you from being great, your environment. The second thing I wrote down is that you are closed. I was hurt by my first lover. Let me put it that way. I had some guy that I really loved. And one day he came to say hello to me, but he was looking a bit suspicious, but I couldn't place it. And the next thing he said, we spent the day like we normally would, and he left. And um 2 days after, I didn't see him the next day, I didn't hear from him. And I was worried. I was like, this unlike this guy. I always, would see him. And 2 days after, he calls me and he tells me he's in America. So he left without even saying goodbye. He left without telling me he was going to America. And I think that shattered me in a way that I didn't even know. So I became close to love. I became close to opening myself up to other people and accepting help, or being, being hurt again. And that's one thing that really, really stops us from being great. I've had also relationships with women that have gone awry, and ideally I should never have any female friend again. And I used to be really close to women at a point, and I would always repetitively say that women, I don't do women. I would rather just keep to my male friends, and we're good. If there's a challenge, we settle it and we move on. But women are a big problem. So ideally, I really shouldn't be having female friends. But most of the people in my community are women, and I spend a lot of time with them because I'm now open to love. And I understand that being hurt is part of love. And so I would rather be hurt than never love again. And I started to open myself to accepting help and opportunities of people being in my life, and that's one thing that has really, really stopped a lot of people. We're closed. We build walls. In fact, some people build castles around themselves, around their hearts, and you actually say, nobody can ever do that for me again in my life. I will never, ever, ever, ever trust anybody. I will never forgive. I will never love. Now, the truth is, who's suffering it? You are. Even if you had so many, you try to revenge back to back, no amount of revenge will take the pain and hurt in your heart away. So having to deal with that hurt and let it go is definitely better for you. And so being closed is one of those things. Another thing I wrote down is, catastrophizing things. We see the worst in any situation. So recently I went through a challenge where my husband had a mild stroke. And that evening I was meant to be speaking at an event. And I thought to myself, it would be, I was the only speaker. If there were other speakers, I could have excused myself. But because I was the only speaker and we had been on this for a couple of weeks and everybody was really looking forward to listening to me, I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to put in my best. Now, when it happened, one of the things that we do that causes so much fear in us is that we see all the worst case scenarios. Oh, what if he dies? Then you now start to see how his family members will come at you, and then who's going to pay for the house, you see all the worst things happening. And so because of that, some people have stayed small. They refuse to risk being big because they see only the worst things happening around them. And that, honestly, can keep you small. Procrastination is one of those things that we do, that we use to catastrophize things. We say, I will do it tomorrow, because you're already seeing all the stress that will happen whilst you're doing it. But then you can do differently and tell your mind differently. So that's one thing I think that also disempowered me. I only saw the worst in scenarios rather than just looking at what was happening now and dealing with the now, knowing that it's no worse than this and better can happen going forward. Another thing I wrote down was concern. We are afraid for the world. What if I go there? He won't like me. What if I go there? She will hate me. What if I speak? Why will people listen to me? Why do people want to? Consistently being in the future worrying about something that might never ever happen That's another thing that stopped me from being great. And I dare say that it's probably doing the same to you as well. Concern, fear. And that fear, someone says is false experiences appearing real. And that's all it is. We have created that image. We have this imagination of this picture of how things can go bad, without knowing that we could also have the same picture of how things can go well. And the last one I wrote for today is comparison. Oh, child, comparison is the thief of all joy. That was big for me. I'm not tall enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not dark enough, I'm not light enough, I'm not, I'm not intelligent enough. Comparing myself to my mates, to other people. In fact, at some point I compared myself to my husband's late wife, thinking, am I a good enough stepmother or mother to my stepchildren? These 5 things, check yourself and ask yourself, which of these things am I doing? Am I doing 1, 2, 3, or all of the above, as they say in objectives, if you're picking objectives? Is it A, B, C, D, or all of the above? If you're doing any of these things to yourself, if you're closed, if your environment has stopped you from being great, if you're always catastrophizing, if you're always concerned and afraid of a future that hasn't happened, and you're constantly comparing yourself to people, you will never be great. And it's not a curse. These things will limit you from standing up and seeing the giant within you, knowing that everything is possible and all the answers that you're looking for is on the inside. You will lack the confidence to be able to trust yourself, and you will consistently walk in self-doubt. So look at these things today and actually sit down and introspect. Which of these things am I doing to myself that is stopping me from being great? And listen to the next video, and I'll share with you some of the things that you can do differently so that you can be successful. And 2024, in fact, 2023 can still end for you in a phenomenal way. You still have 2 months. You underestimate what can happen in 2 months. And so if you start to check it now and then wait for my next video that talks about how you can be successful, and I'm going to share 5 things as well, you will then be able to start applying it in your life, because this knowledge, this information without application is as bad as you didn't hear me. So you hear, you act, then you become. Yes? Once again, my name is Adele, and I hope these 5 points have helped you today to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Take care.